I'd like to talk about personal financial fitness for a moment and make a recommendation. When you're past the do-it-yourself experimental stage and when you've gone beyond even the sentimental stage, when you're finally getting serious about developing bona fide structures and plans for your financial life, I recommend you call Bob Donaldson at Advisory Group West, located at 700 North Central Avenue in Glendale. He can help you organize, prioritize, and then optimize almost every resource you value, including your time. Tell him Dennis Prager recommended that you call Advisory Group West at 888-885-4AGW. See if you're finally ready for financial fitness for life. Call 888-885-4AGW. That's Advisory Group West, 888-885-4AGW.
Bob Donaldson is a registered representative and investment advisor representative with and offers securities and advisory services through Commonwealth Financial Network. A registered investment advisor. Financial planning offered through Advisory Group West, a registered investment advisor.
So our last guest speaker of the evening is Bob Donaldson, founder and managing principal of Advisory Group West. Now you can look up all of Bob's credentials, and he has rather remarkable qualifications, but let me tell you something about my own experience. And that is, I wish I had met him 20 years ago. He obviously cares about the people he works with. It's a real pleasure, and with great respect and affection, I commend to you Bob Donaldson.
Wealth Summit. I think I'm in the right place. We're going to be doing some summiting today, and I'm going to be your Sherpa for the next 15 minutes. Most of you probably know that the Sherpa are those unique people from Nepal that are employed as guides, as mountaineers in expeditions in the Himalayas, especially Mount Everest. They're highly regarded as elite mountaineers and experts in their local terrain. Personal financial summiting is my local terrain. And in the next 15 minutes, I'd like to use the summiting versus mountaineering metaphor to illustrate very different experiences. I hope to encourage you. Begin your journey, convert your vision into your mission, get help putting your money where your mission is, and enjoy the succeeding journey. Most people want to summit their financial goals and actually achieve them, yet they find themselves always mountaineering, if you will, and never quite achieving the summiting experience that they're working so hard to enjoy, often worrying about falling short. And mountaineering implies, for this conversation, wandering around in the mountains. And hopefully, summiting, however, implies directed and purposeful experiences. And my job is to be your guide, a financial game changer, to change your financial experience from a mountaineering experience to the joy of a summiting experience. In the personal financial realm, obviously, the game change is to shift you from the frustration of always worrying about your assets' performance to actually enjoying the kind of security and peace of mind that comes from knowing that you are in charge of your wealth. Your wealth shouldn't be in charge of you. It's all about translating your vision from or into practical day-to-day solutions. Let's pause and be clear about this. What is wealth? What is wealth management? Well, first, what is wealth? Wealth is anything that we value. In today's terms, for today's discussion, we're going to limit the scope of the word to effort and assets. The dedication of our time and effort is what we call work. And it's probably fair to say that the major reason most of us work so hard is that we know that at some point in time, our time and energies will be more limited. So we store that time and effort in the form of assets. Assets represent stored energy. At some point, we intend to reverse that pattern and have the assets work hard for us. So then what is wealth management? Wealth management is directing and channeling productivity to meet your desires. I'd write that down. So what's happening? What's happening to your assets' productivity in relation to the summiting experience that you want? If you kind of answer, I'm not sure, obviously that doesn't inspire confidence for Summit. But if you're unsure, obviously you're not don't feel like the Lone Ranger. Almost everybody starts there. But you don't have to stay there. My job is to help you, obviously, build confidence in your wealth management process. I suggest that you focus on getting help solving 3 important questions. And here they are. First, who's in charge? Second, where's the security? And next, how can achievement be made easier and more enhanced? I'll help you do that tonight. You need to do 3 things to make consistent progress in your personal finance summiting. Organize, prioritize, and optimize. You obviously need to organize in order to be in charge, and you need to prioritize to be more secure, and you need to optimize in the achievement to make achievement easier and more enhanced. And here's the super good news. Wait for it. Everybody can organize, prioritize, and optimize. And that's pretty cool, right? Remember that success is not so much a destination but rather a succession of behaviors or steps that take you in the direction that you want to go. And it's interesting that once you have the first 2 behaviors of organize and prioritize, you're actually on your way to successive steps that are taken in succession, one after another, toward your destination. That is success. Successively moving toward your destination. Why? What are the benefits of those 3 actions? What do those actions deliver to you? First, we're going to talk about organizing. Organizing gets you control. Control is a pretty big word. You've got to have a recurring sense that you know where every resource is and how it's performing. Where is every resource? For starters, we do have to have a way of quickly always knowing where point A is, where here is. That's for starters. But obviously, we're not talking just about having a good filing system, although that helps. What is most important is how the assets are coordinated, how to complement the strength of every asset to assure and enhance your progress and your experience. Deliberately setting up and structuring every resource that you have to support and to connect so that with the effect of the other resources that you have. It's like the famous bar-headed geese. They're called bar-headed because they have 2 white or black stripes just above their eyes. They fly in V formations over 33,000 feet across the Himalayas. They organize their resources to take advantage of each other's efforts, obviously, and those organized efforts increase their chances of success. Here's what I do to help you organize and get control. My first task is to analyze, to show you all the drag, if you will, that is robbing you of progress, of money, and of time. I know the terrain pretty well, and I specialize in finding friction points where resources are duplicated, where resources are not supporting each other, where assets are working at cross purposes or conflicting with each other. If your geese aren't flying well together, you want to straighten up. You want to tell them to straighten up and fly right? That sets the stage, of course, for improvement later on in our discussion. All right, so once you're back in better control, it's important to stay in control at all times. So I help by providing the latest cloud technology, that happens to be the word they use for it, that provides you your own personal financial website. And on that website, it not only keeps your resources all organized for you, from then on, it keeps it organized all the time, and we do all that work for you. All you do is, wherever you are, you can just enter your secured encrypted code, and you get access to the daily tracking of every asset that you have, no matter where it is, at the bank or saving loans, wherever it is. And you get to see your cash flow as well. You get to see your net worth. Every time you make a principal payment of mortgage into your home, it's reflected in your website. Your tax efficiency is there. You even get a secure vault where you can securely put copies of important documents, tax returns, insurance policies, vehicle warranties. It'll even track your rewards points, which is pretty cool, I think. It's exciting, obviously, when technology can make our lives easier and more enjoyable and more secure. If you look at our booth on the left-hand side under the word organize, there's a video screen, and if you'll just ask our staff, they'll run a video that shows you that website, and it is just too cool. You got to see it. Obviously, control is number one for very good reason. If you do not organize well, you can actually deny yourself success because you're not sure of where or how well your assets are aligned. I help you do just that. Next is prioritizing. Prioritizing gets you security. Security that every effort and every asset and every role is aimed in the same direction. Gathering momentum from your efforts, being effective in each role, compounding the effect of every passing moment, meaning that time is working in your favor, and time is not usually working in your favor. You actually need to actively structure your resources to harness the passing of time to work in your favor with compounding effect. We're not just talking about setting a goal and says, yes, I want to retire in 2020 with blank amount of money or income. Prioritizing is about increasing your security that you will actually experience the joy of summiting. Here's what I do to help increase your security. I help you develop a clear financial roadmap. If you look at the center panel of our booth, there's a large, big graphic picture of the illustration tool that I use to clearly lay out your financial roadmap for you. It makes it clear and easy for everybody to be on the same page as they attempt to help you on your way. Now, everyone who is helping you knows where point B is, where there is, and also why it's so important to you. But here's the most important part thing that I do in order to help get security. After the financial roadmap is done with some very important educational information, I help you identify your personal terms and conditions for achieving your financial security that you've prioritized. Your terms are what define, in essence, what financial security means to you, and why. And those particular terms are what become your agenda for that journey. It's like turning to your trusty Sherpa and saying, yes, I do want to get to the Mount Everest by Tuesday next week, but here's my terms and conditions for getting there. Safety first, please. No dying or injuries on this trip. Please, I'd like to stop and enjoy the view, explore the flora and the fauna along the way. I'd like to visit the glaciers along the way. Lots of oxygen, please. Nice, good food, please. Maybe spot some snow leopards if we have a chance. In other words, I do presume that you want to enjoy your summiting experience. But only when your terms and conditions are clearly identified and communicated to your allies can you begin to feel the kind of security that actually says, yes, I think I'm going to actually experience the kind of trip that you wanted and asked for, get the kind of traction and progress that you expected. So much so that at long last, you can actually embark on the journey with some enthusiasm and maybe even some anticipation. When you do not prioritize, you can actually, again, deny yourself success because you're not so sure or secure as to where there is, where you're going, and what kind of experience you want. And that takes us to optimize. Optimizing, of course, helps you get there faster. Optimizing primarily gets you cost containment, getting the wheels of every effort, greasing the wheels of every effort and every asset, reducing conflicting friction, loss of time, loss of momentum, loss of purchasing power. Optimizing is really where real traction begins, where tangible progress is measured. Here's what I do to help you optimize. There are 4 wealth management functions that I help you optimize. One is asset protection. The next one is cash flow, steady, tax-efficient income. Next is growth, compounding, risk-managed growth. And then finally, estate transfer, preserving and directing estate transfer to your heirs and charities, obviously, if you like that. Let's pause for a moment. I'm sure that you recognize that there are far too many optimizing tools and strategies and tactics. in products and services and ways and means to address in the remaining 5 minutes I've got. But if you look on the booth over there, on the right-hand side, you'll see there's, in essence, a sign that tells you about that to learn more, I invite you to come to one of my workshops called Costly Hidden Money Mistakes Retirees Regret. It's about a 1.5 to 2 hour workshop jammed with detailed examples of the kinds of optimizations that you can consider for yourself. So just drop off your phone and email, and you can learn a whole lot more about it. Tonight, I can at least scan through the series of optimizations that I do to grease the wheels and improve the performance of both your efforts and your assets. Let's take them one at a time real quick. Asset protection. Obviously, asset protection is about protecting your assets and resources that you already have. I like the phrase, I actually saw this on the back of a truck. It says, prevent the worst, safety first. I like that. But the usual suspects, as they say, are liability exposure, titling coordination, trust language coordination, efficient cash management, managing long-term care costs, survivor needs, etc. For instance, one quick example is almost everybody I meet pays too much out of pocket for long-term care needs. There are at least 8 ways to manage your long-term care costs without becoming wards of the state, obviously. Only one of those is traditional insurance. The others are asset-based options and solutions. Which ones are right for you? How would you know without doing the homework on each one of them to see how well they match up with your other resources and, of course, your priorities? Obviously, most people want to reduce those uncapped liabilities because there is no limit on those costs. And obviously, I show you how to do that. The next optimizing function is cash flow. At some point, you're probably going to want income, steady, tax-efficient income, not subject to the ups and downs of the market. Dropping taxes is an obvious and very important work our clients demand. You'll want to see the various ways that you can consider to reduce your income taxes, capital gains taxes, alternative minimum taxes, and state income taxes, etc. Like they say, there's 2 tax systems, one for the informed and one for the uninformed. There are at least 6 ways to get steady, tax-efficient income for retirement. 2 of those are specifically for folks 59 and a half and above. My job is to keep you informed which options apply to you. That's what I do. The next optimizing function is growth. Assets compounding in a risk-managed way in your portfolios. What is the most unrelenting cost that you and I have to contend with in our portfolios? It was already mentioned by our colleague earlier when he talked about inflation. Money is a commodity, like water is a commodity. It historically evaporates at about a rate of 3% per year. Its purchasing power evaporates even while you sleep, unrelentingly. It's insulting, really, because it's happening underneath your nose every single day, including your birthday. So if you have $1 million on January 1st in cash, and you look at that on December 31st, it's now worth $970,000. That means you lost $2,500 per month. For a lot of people, that's a mortgage payment. So obviously inflation is a stealth killer, I call it, because you don't get a bill every month. It just happens under your nose. I call it economic cancer of the bone. You might have heard what Warren Buffett, there was just an interview in February of this year. One of the things he said about inflation, he says, inflation is like falling off a 50-story building. You don't feel much the first 45 floors. Obviously, I show you what can be done in your particular case. In addition to that, we're still talking about growth. I'll help you then reduce the administrative costs, commissions, turnover costs, sales charges, management costs, expense ratios, etc. You're not going to eliminate all of those, but we can definitely work to reduce them. Hopefully the sum of reductions of taxes and also cost reductions might be enough to actually get you to your summit without taking the additional risks with your growth portfolio. However, if you do need additional growth alternatives, you'll be happy to know that we have over 40,000 money managers to choose from. That includes institutional money managers. Fortunately, having done our homework of organizing and prioritizing, we can easily filter out all but those that do meet your terms and conditions, meaning your agenda. Remember, we're managing to your clear agenda, not to the market. You're putting your money where your mission is. I'll help you do just that. The last wealth management function, of course, is preserving and directing your estate transfer. I show you how to coordinate the dispositive provisions of your wills and trusts, asset titling with your ownership of qualified plans, of non-qualified plans, with annuities, with life insurance, with buy-sell agreements. All those need to be dovetailed, if you will, and headed in the right direction. All of this, of course, is from a financial perspective, not just the legal perspective, which I suspect most of you already have your wills and trusts in place. Just to be clear, I'm not an attorney, and we do not practice law. It's the financial impact, however, of those various decisions that will determine the ultimate outcome for you and your spouse and your heirs. So we work very closely with your advisors to ensure that the outcome obviously is the one that you want. After that, I hope you reducing and eliminate the estate transfer taxes. Still a biggie. After that, if you want to, we can also help you maximize your estate for your family and/or charitable contributions. We actually made our name in the estate transfer expertise, and we're pretty proud of the positive effect we have on a lot of people's lives. Let's wrap up. This language of personal finance is deceptively simple. Organize, prioritize, optimize. It's like telling you all you need to do to get to the Mount Everest is you just need to have these kinds of supplies, rest at these intervals, and put one step in front of the other. That's all there is to it. You might even be warned that the weather is going to change, and often dramatically, and yet you're still struck to find that the environment is a lot more demanding than you imagined. You suddenly realize it's not so easy for a rookie to know the lay of the land, how to deal with the weather, how to deal with the wind, how to deal with the steepness of the climb, the thinness of the air, the UV rays, the hydration needs, food, when to go forward, when to hold fast. Reading about it is not quite the same as feeling it. And as they say, when you're up to your neck in difficulties, it's tough to remember your original intent was to enjoy the view. So why is it that so few people reach their financial Everest, much less enjoy the journey? Well, it's simply because it requires behaviors that you're not accustomed to. Because behaving in new ways seems tough. There's a powerful tendency to deceive ourselves into believing that we can take shortcuts to the summit without adding high risk. So it is with personal finance. It's easy to cast aside the common sense of organize, prioritize, optimize, and to desperately search for the elusive silver bullet asset that will rescue you from needing to behave a little bit differently. I'd like to obviously discourage you from relying on shortcuts. They very often significantly increase the risk of disappointment and of painful experiences. Obviously, I'm here to help. My job is to bring to life the personal financial experience you've always wanted with the financial resources that you've created and worked hard with. My job is to change your game from just mountaineering to summiting. Summiting is a game changer. We call this new game financial fitness for life. The best thing you'll notice is that you're in charge. Not the market, not the government, not the weather, not your education. You're the catalyst. It is your planning that provides qualitative and quantitative differences that you defined and should insist upon. You change the games. You change the game. All the assets are now working for you. You're no longer a hostage to the assets. So if you're still biting your nails or find it disturbing your sleep and to live financially and securely, call me. I'll provide you with a comprehensive, innovative approach for applying financial solutions. And as you know, if you don't know any better, you won't do any better. So luckily, it's never too late to learn. Why not you learn to do it better? It's fun to get better anyway. Give my staff a call, tell them that you attended this Wealth Summit, and they'll help arrange a complimentary consultation or an invitation to our workshop. I want to thank you very much for your attention and for your interest. Thank you very much. Good night.